Hey, dorks and nerds. Man, my hair is never good. This is my channel, a new channel of mine. I do toy reviews on my other one. I'll link to all my channels in the channel description. I usually do toys over this. This one I'm just going to be reviewing random stuff, but I wanted to do my top 50 albums and movies of my life, and because I recently finished my 51st year of life, so I wanted to go through with it. And I decided for the first 5 or 10 or 20, and I'm just going to do the ones that I have memorized by heart. I just absolutely love, and I can never stop loving these albums, at least so far in life. This is probably my top 10 easy. I don't know. This is, I think, 1990. Was it 90? Yeah, 1990. This is by Depeche Mode. It's called Violator. Look at that flat black. You know what is so great about that? Is no reflection. One of the problems with this flat black, though, it really gathers dust. So if I need a better record protecting system. But what's so good about this is Depeche Mode is really, before this, they were a pop group, of course. They were fashion pop or whatever the heck it translates to. But I didn't take them seriously at all. I had friends, and I had like my brother's girlfriends would really be in Depeche Mode before this album, or they were into the earlier stuff. And there was good stuff for sure, but it had a bit of a darkness to it, had a bit of a seriousness to it, but it was never really something I took seriously. The sound effects and all that stuff were good. The recordings were always pretty good, but I just never heard something that really blew me away until this came out. I remember this came out. I can't remember when I first heard it for sure, but I definitely remember that it immediately made a huge impact on me. The thing is before this, I would have been into Ministry a bit. Mine Is a Terrible Thing to Taste, which I think was 86, 89, something. I can't remember when Mine Is a Terrible Thing to Taste came out. But that heavy electric drum sound, because I was a drummer, I've been a drummer for most of my life, I absolutely loved. And so if a group had a really good drum sound, I really, really liked it. But the problem was a lot of pop didn't have very good drum sounds, and a lot of 80s pop, kind of where Depeche Mode came from, did not have very good drum sounds. They had the potential to have good drum sounds. They would have a nice snare or whatever, but then it would be recorded half-ass, and just so a lot of it sounded really it was not that it sounded fake, it just that it sounded kind of like there was no effort put behind the drum sounds. Like, let's just put down the beat and then the rest we'll worry about. But when this came out, the drums are amazing, absolutely amazing. Some of my favorite stuff, some of my favorite type of drums or drummers are very simple, who keep it really simple, but then so they'll have like a straight beat, and then we'll throw in a little thing here and there, a little accent or whatever, and occasionally we'll do something that's challenging. So it's not like it's hard to play the drums on this album if you play along with it. It's that the sound effects, the little accents are so creative, and there's a lot of unexpected stuff in this. There's I forget which song it's in. I'm trying to think. I want to say it was in Policy of Truth, I think, where he comes back in with the drum, and all he's doing is he's hitting two bass drum beats before the snare. So it sounds like brak, like he's rolling into it, but it's just 3 notes. It's bass snare, so it's brak. It's hard to do. But when I heard that as a kid, it's such a heavy kick sound. It sounds like a triple, quadruple drum attack, huge roll, but it's a half second. And he did a lot of stuff like that would just catch you off guard. And one of my fantasies is to go ahead, because I don't have a drum kit now, I haven't had one in a few years, is to get an electronic kit and just to put the headphones on and to play along with my favorite albums. A, it'd be good exercise, and it's a lot of fun. It's a cardio work, whatever. But B, it's a good creative outlet. Playing with a lot of this stuff, especially as a drummer. It's nowadays in heavy music, drums are really, I think, kind of a joke. They're the obsession with speed has gotten so ridiculous, But this came out in 1990. I think it sold 8 million albums or something. I can't remember how much. Over time, I was surprised. I thought this had sold like 100 million. I don't know. I don't know who sells 100 million albums, but it's funny because when you look up modern albums now, the plays and this album sales are so much harsher because they're going by streams and stuff. So it's just really weird. I'm not going to show you the interior album because there's a human butt. I think it's a lady. What's his name is holding a lady, and there's her human butt. The problem with it, no, there's not a problem, but the issue with this is it's this close to being a perfect album. The recording is amazing, absolutely amazing. If you get a really good recording of it, like if you get, it sounds great on vinyl, of course, but if you get like a really, really nice audio file, and I have the really high quality ones on my phone, I keep this album along with a few others that are just, I keep with me always. It's like my Desert Island album. If you just crank it up, the bouncing effects, the drum sounds, it's such a freaking good sound, or album. It has such a nice sound. I think it was, I can't remember who produced it. Wasn't it who was Eno Flood? I can't remember who produced this. That's so weird. Why is that suddenly dropping on my mind? But anyway, fantastic. I mean, just what they did here was changed everything about them, and also about how a lot of people felt about them. They went from a group who was, serious and was doing well, was selling arenas and lots of album sales and stuff like that. But this changed so much, I think, that to this day, I don't think it gets a lot of credit from other groups. They're groups who sound like this and don't know they sound like this. Now, they didn't invent this sound in this style, of course, but what they did was so unique. His singing voice is really unique. It's you've never heard something like that. The way they play, he plays a lot. Any of the guitar is like a single note, almost like the Cure single note 2-string riffs. Sometimes it's just a sound effect on the guitar. But what keeps us from being perfect is that a couple of the songs I skip, really only Personal Jesus. I have to say that it's not a bad song at all, but it got so much airplay and it just wasn't, it kind of stood out on the album as kind of the poppier song. And it's not cheesy or anything like that, but it just feels a bit more dated, whereas the rest of the songs of the album are absolutely timeless. But when I come across Personal Jesus, I skip it. Again, it's not a bad song. Maybe it's just because it was played everywhere and I got so used to it. But it's just the rest of the songs are so perfect. They have such a great sound that when you hear Personal Jesus, you're like, oh, it kind of sounds like a different band. Maybe a throwback to their poppier stuff that I didn't really like. I'm not sure. But having said that, it's 99.5% to a perfect album, meaning I wouldn't skip it. It sounds great. The lyrics are really good. There's a lot of references to what sounds like drugs. They said they named it Violator because they wanted something that sounded absolutely like, the worst possible name. Now, I don't know what the true story is. It sounds like to me that maybe that story came across later when they realized that, that sounds kind of rapey or whatever. I don't know. But it is a great title for an incredible album because you're expecting Depeche Mode and you hear this completely timeless dark. This is so freaking good. I would say probably my favorite songs are Policy of Truth for sure. Halo I love how Halo starts. It has such an interesting sound. It really catches you off. Any of them that start off, the drums are that great mid-tempo, almost an arena rock rhythm. He does a lot of that. That's really good. But then there's, Waiting for the Night I remember as a kid, again, I always have great memories of riding in the back of a car, coming back from a club, half drunk as a kid. And Waiting for the Night was, it sounded like a song about vampires, whatever. But the buzzing effect, talking about there's like a bee or a fly in the car with them, and that kind of stuff. It's really, really, really kind of eerie, but also still pop. It's just fantastic. So easily one of my top albums of all time. If you haven't listened to this ever, if you don't know what this is, you have to try this. Now, maybe it won't be your jam, I don't know, but you trust me, you listen to a good quality version of this, you'll be blown away by the sound effects from 30 years ago, something like that. Anyway, love the album. Take it easy. Bye.